The movie options for the mental health assignment I watched were A Beautiful Mind and Brain on Fire. The one movie out of those two that stood out to me was Brain on Fire. And one thing that they talked about in the movie was bipolar disorder, that they were trying to diagnose to see if she had that or not. So that topic stuck out to me, and I did my paper on bipolar disorders. So what bipolar disorder is a brain disorder that changes a person's mood, energy, and ability to function. And people with this disorder will experience an intense wave of emotions that they can last from a few days to a few weeks. And episodes can be manic or depressive. And bipolar can be categorized into 3 separate things, but we're going to talk about 2, bipolar 1 and bipolar type 2. So bipolar type 1 is diagnosed when a person will experience manic episodes, and during these episodes, a person can feel very high, like they're on top of the world, and very low, where they could cry their eyes out all day, every day. And in bipolar 2, someone is diagnosed by having major depressive and hypomaniac episodes. People with bipolar 2 tend to have other mental health disorders like anxiety and depression as well. And the topics of discussion that we're going to talk about is each symptom for bipolar type 1 and type 2, treatments for both, and then our real life experience. So bipolar type 1 symptoms, you have to have at least one manic episode followed by a hypomanic or a depressive episode. So what does that mean? Is that you have to have a really high. You have to be on a high, like thinking that like you can do anything in the world, like nothing can cut you down, and a really low where like nobody can help you. And hypomanic is kind of like it's like a little less than that feeling of manic. And depressive episodes is when you feel very depressed. Bipolar 2 symptoms, to have bipolar type 2 to be diagnosed, you have to have at least a depressive episode and one hypomanic episode. But also, you can never have a manic episode. So if you have a manic episode, you're going to be diagnosed with bipolar type 1, not bipolar type 2. Bipolar type 2 is more on the depressive side. And treatment plan for both include your basic medication and therapy. So now we're going to talk about an experience with bipolar type 2, my experience with bipolar type 2. I was diagnosed with bipolar type 2 about 3 to 4 years ago. I was a senior in high school. It was literally the first day of class, and I couldn't go to school. I literally sat in my car and I threw up. Like, I was so nervous to go into class, thinking that people would look at me differently or like talk about me behind their backs. And it was just very weird, and I never ever experienced anything like it. But I do have anxiety, so that's kind of why they might have thought that I had bipolar type 2. So I went to the doctor and they diagnosed me and all that. So I'm on medication, and I do go to therapy, which has really helped. But basically I thought my life was gonna be over, because whenever you think of someone that has bipolar, mostly bipolar type 1, you think of how much of a crazy person they are, and you always think of like the high highs and the low lows, and it just makes you think that they're a little bit crazy, which they aren't. Their brain isn't made the same way as everybody else's. They see things a little differently. So with the right medications that I'm on and the help of my amazing therapist, I am on a good regimen, and I know my triggers, and how to calm myself down to kind of stop these episodes. But now I feel like a normal young adult living with mental health disorder, and literally nothing in the world can prepare you for being diagnosed with a mental health disorder or having one. It's a little hard, but with the right support system of family, friends, therapists, psychiatrists, all that, you're gonna get better, and you're gonna feel a lot better, and you're gonna feel like you can find your way out of that. And that my diagnosis does not define me, and it doesn't define how my life will play out. So basically what we talked about was the definition of bipolar type 1 and type 2. 1 is more manic side, type 2 is a more depressive side. So for bipolar type 1, you'll have hypomanic or depressive episodes. For bipolar type 2, you're going to have depressive and hypomanic episodes with no manic episodes. For treatments, a lot of people are in treatments with just basic medication and therapy. Therapy plays a major role. I always get asked when I go to my appointments if you're still in therapy, because therapy does play a major role in helping you find all the tools that you need to kind of calm yourself down, and you can kind of pinpoint what will cause your episodes and how to stop them if they do come on. And that, in my experience, living with mental illness doesn't define you. It only makes you stronger, I find. And if you're having any of these symptoms, or if you look it online, you watch the movie, and you realize that maybe I could have this, see a doctor. If you're suicidal behavior or thoughts that are common with the disorder, please see a doctor. And thank you for watching.